This time we're talking about The Hunt for the Wilder People by Tai Watiti. I'm not quite sure how you pronounce his name. Uh, as always, I'm your host Daniel with my co-host and father Jerry. Say hello, Dad.
Oh, hello.
Um,
Yes.
this was kind of an interesting movie that we just sort of pulled up on Netflix.
Mhm.
We were both big fans of Jojo Rabbit and what we do in the shadows, two of the guy's other movies.
Yes.
So we decided that it was recommended to us, and we just had wanted to watch something, and so we watched it.
Mhm.
Uh, I don't know if this was before either of those movies. I don't think it was because, well, I think it was before Jojo Rabbit, but not What We Do in the Shoulder, just because I'm looking at the poster right now and it mentions it.
Yeah.
But uh, what was I gonna say?
This
Uh,
movie was in 2016.
it was 26. Okay, I think so. I think it was after What We Did in the Shadows.
Yeah.
Uh, but it was yeah, it stars Sam Neill and Julian Dennison, aka the kid from Deadpool 2. I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
Um, as two people that essentially go out in the wilderness and hijinks ensue.
Yeah.
Um, I guess to give a brief recap of what happens, the kid from Deadpool 2 is an orphan again. He gets dropped off at this family with the mother and father, Sam Neill, and the mother who wants the kid. The father really doesn't. The mother passes, and they kind of escape into the wilderness. Well, he does, and the guy follows him when they're going to take him back into child custody, and the movie kind of progresses from there.
Yeah.
Uh, I don't know. Are there any main things you really want to talk about on this one, or you just kind of want to go over the plot a bit?
Well, I think one of the things is it's a different. Uh, I think it's a lot different from Jojo Rabbit in that in Jojo Rabbit everything is more like the color scheme and everything in Jojo Rabbit is louder. It is.
It's a much quieter movie.
It's a much quieter movie. It depends a lot on his shooting of the movie. Depends a lot on nature,
Hmm. It's a much.
and
Yeah, go ahead.
it is a Jojo Rabbit sort of he had set up the scenes that they sort of more look like dreams than as reality. In this one, it looks more like reality than a dream.
Yeah, this one's pretty realistic in a lot of senses
Yeah,
of it. It's much more muted. It's a much slower burn of a movie, and I think that works at some points, but at other things I think it could have been sped up a bit. Uh, I I think there were some problems with the pacing in it. I think it's a good movie, but I don't think it's as good as the other two we mentioned, What We Did in the Shadows, and Jojo Rabbit, because I think it just was a bit too slow of a burn for me for a comedy. Uh, but there were some really great moments in it.
yeah. The scene where he fakes his uh, suicide
Hmm.
is tremendous, where he
Yes.
burns down the barn.
Yeah, he has this stupid suicide plan. Well, I guess he's a kid, but it's even stupid for a kid. Like he's gonna burn himself to death and not to look in the barn, and he burns down the whole barn. The very first scene he's in the movie, in which they drop him off there, and he's just kind of walking around as a woman talking, then gets back in the car, is a really good scene.
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah. And the chemistry between him and the his uncle,
yeah, well,
or what do
Sam,
you the
yeah, he
guy
calls
he
him
calls
Uncle Sam Neill.
yeah,
Is
is
great.
tremendous. Yeah.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
yeah, it has a lot of good scenes,
Hmm.
and it's
Hmm.
and there's no question that the scenery in the thing is beautiful.
Yeah, it's the New Zealand outback. I'm assuming. I know it's. I know the guy's New Zealand, and I know they're obviously in New Zealand, so I'm going to assume it's the New Zealand outback. But that
Yeah.
being said, since it's a movie, you
Yeah.
never really know where they're shot at. Um,
Mhm.
uh,
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a lot of great scenery, a lot of in the woods, a lot. Um, like I said before, the problem is there might be slightly too much of that because it does kind of get on the movie's pacing problem a bit, in my opinion.
Hmm.
I don't know if you had a problem with that, but I did because I thought at times was a bit too slow
Yes.
and a bit too
Yeah.
drawn out.
Yeah.
Could have maybe used a few cuts there and a bit faster of a pace. Um, uh, Speaking of the realism in it and how it's a much more realistic movie, it does, it is that, but it does have a level of whimsicalness to it
Hmm. Yes.
still, which the searching and I mean, there's a lot of absurd things with the Child Protective Services woman.
We know there is a good part between the Child Protective Services woman and the old
Yeah.
uh, cop,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
he's very good. In fact, he's very good in the thing. The old cop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
And the I think there's the whimsical scene where he goes and meets a young girl on the horseback.
Yeah. There's a couple of them, but it's far more
Yeah.
kind of down and gritty
Yeah.
and to this movie's
Straightforward.
yeah to this movie's credit, that works for the most part.
Yeah.
There's a bit where it maybe doesn't. Like I don't think the dog really needed to die or anything.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
uh, but yeah, it just works well. I mean, it's a thing where it's a comedy, so if you discuss a lot of the parts of it, it takes away the joke.
Hmm.
But I mean, the big thing in the movie, and the movie does hinge on it, is the two got leads chemistry, and they do have great chemistry.
Yes.
Um, I guess we really don't have much to say about this one.
Yeah.
Uh, did you have anything else you wanted to talk about with it?
No, the guy appears, the director appears again in his movie. He appears as a minister.
Yeah, he appeared as
It,
minister.
it's
I
a
forgot about
short
that.
part. Yeah.
It's a short part, but it's kind of this bizarre priest preacher and who has
Well,
one.
most of the characters are bizarre
Yeah.
outside of the two main characters.
Hmm.
I mean, the certainly the guy who they get in the trailer with
Yeah.
is bizarre. There are several bizarre characters in it, uh,
Hmm.
but
I mean, it's a comedy, so they kind of have to be. It's a.
yeah,
Hmm.
they have a great scene at the near the end where they actually catch him
Hmm. Yeah,
when the
that's
whole army's out to catch him.
yeah. The whole army's out to catch these two people that are in the woods
Yeah,
because they
and
think the kid's been abducted.
mhm,
Which the kid doesn't help because of the way he explains things.
yeah,
Hmm.
and the kid, of course, wants to become a gangster.
Yes, he names his dog Tupac, which was a good joke.
Yeah,
Hmm. Well,
and
the kid thinks he's gangster. We should more say.
yeah, yeah. The this movie is made for about a third as much as Jojo Rabbit,
Yeah.
uh, and it's shot mostly with just a single camera.
Hmm. It's I didn't realize that, but that's kind of
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
Yeah, you can tell it was. I think this was the one he did just before he did Thor Ragnarok. Uh,
yeah,
so it's you can kind of see over what we did in the Shell and this is his style evolving some.
yes.
And obviously to Jojo Rabbit, and I think his next one's Thor: Love and Thunder. So it'll be interesting to see kind of how it goes from there.
Hmm.
Hmm.
But he wrote this too.
Yeah, I think he's wrote. I think he writes. I think he's wrote all the movies that he's done. Again,
Yeah,
the director. That
yeah.
I'm not going to say his name again because I know I'm going to slaughter it. Uh, but yeah, no. I mean, I'd recommend checking it out. Just know it's a bit slow. What are your thoughts on it?
Oh, I think it's a good movie to watch. Yes,
Yeah. Hmm. Especially
it,
since.
it's It's extremely entertaining.
Yeah, especially if you're just looking for something that's a bit funny and whimsical to watch.
Yeah.
I think that's about all we have for it, unless you have anything else you want to talk about it.
No, I don't.
Okay, well,
Okay.
that's that, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.